Today we are working on determining elapsed time. Please copy down the standard benchmark indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. The student will determine the amount of elapsed time in hours and minutes. First, before we work with elapsed time, we're just going to go over reading a clock again. So just as a quick review, the shorthand tells the hour and the longhand tells the minute. So our first clock shows the hour is 11 and the minute is at the 3, so we know it's 15 minutes. So we have 11:15. For the second clock, the hour hand is pointing right at the 5, and the minute hand is straight up at the 12, so we know it's 5 o'clock. For the third clock, we have the hour hand pointing between the 7 and the 8, so we know it's at least 7 o'clock. And the minute hand is at the 9, so we know it's 45 minutes. So we have 7:45. Finally, for the last clock, we have the hour hand between the 1 and the 2. It's almost to the 2 because it's almost 2 o'clock, but not quite. So we have 1 hour and 55 minutes. So please make sure those are copied down and this half sheet is glued in your math notebook. Elapsed time. A dairy farmer begins to milk his cows at 5:20 each morning. He finishes milking the cows at 7:30 each morning. How much time does it take to milk the cows? Remember, to find elapsed time, count the minutes and then the hours. So first we start with the clock at 5:20. We know from 5:20 to 5:30 equals 10 minutes. And from 5:30 to 7:30 is then 2 hours. So in total, it took the farmer 2 hours and 10 minutes to milk his cows. AM is the time between 12 midnight and 12 noon. PM is the time between 12 noon and 12 midnight. How much time has passed from? Number 1, 8 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. So the first thing we look at is, have we crossed from morning to afternoon? And we haven't yet. So we know we can go from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, which will give us 3 hours. And then we have to go from 11 o'clock to 11:15, so that's going to add 15 minutes to our total. For number 2, we're going from 7:15 p.m. to 9:20 a.m. So first of all, we know it's at least 12 hours because from 7:15 p.m. to 7:15 a.m. is 12 hours. We need to go to 9:20, so we add 2 more hours on to get to 9:15, so we have 14 hours now. And then from 9:15 to 9:20 is 5 minutes. Very important to keep track of when you have AM and when you have PM because it can make an enormous difference in your answer. For number 3, we go from 9:30 a.m. to 12 noon. So to go from 9:30 to 10 o'clock is 30 minutes. From 10 to noon is 2 hours. So end up with 2 hours, 30 minutes. For number 4, we're going from 9:15 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. So we know we're crossing from the AM to the PM, which is important to check. So we go from 9:15 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. So just up to the 12 there, that's 3 hours. So we just need one more to get to 1:15. So it's 4 hours total. For number 5, we're going from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we know from 10 a.m. to noon is 2 hours. From noon to 4 is 4 hours. So altogether, we get 6 hours. For 6, we have 9:30 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. So one thing we can do when we're doing problems like this, we can also draw a T-chart to help us keep track of the hours and the minutes. So we're going to do that down off to the right here. So the way to do this T-chart is we know we're starting at 9:30. So we're going to write down each hour until we get as close to 4:45 as we can. So we're going to write down 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, and 4:30. And then we can look 4:30 to 4:45. You can count your minutes in increments of 5 or 15. In this case, it's easy. We know it's 15 minutes. So we're just going to write the 15 over on the right. And the way this helps you keep track of your hours is now we can go back and count each of the hours we wrote down, and that will tell us how many hours from 9:30 to 4:30. So we have 10:30, so that's 1, 11:30 is 2, 12:30 is 3, 1:30 is 4, 2:30 is 5, 3:30 is 6, and 4:30 is 7. So we have 7 hours and 15 minutes. And for the minutes, a lot of times it's easy to count in 5s, or you can just count the 15 in this case because we know it goes straight up to 15. For number 7, we're going from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Well, we know from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. is 12 hours. We're just going one more hour, so it's 13 hours. For 8, we have 11 a.m. to 10:45 p.m. Now, if we look at this one, we're very close to going from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and we know that would be 12 hours. Well, we're 15 minutes short of going a complete 12 hours, so you can either count up or you can go up to 11 p.m. and subtract 15 minutes backwards. So we're going to end up with 11 hours and 45 minutes. For 9, we have a word problem. Toshi went to bed at 8:30 p.m. and set her alarm clock to ring at 7:15 a.m. If Toshi wakes up when the alarm rings, how long will she have slept? So, first thing we look at is we know it's less than 12 hours because she's starting at 8:30 p.m. and 8:30 a.m. would be 12 hours. So this one we're going to have to count up. So we're going to use the T-chart again. And now we're going to count up starting with 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, so on until you get to 6:30 because 7:30 would be too far. Okay, and if we look there, if we count up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours total there. Now we need to go from 6:30 to 7:15, and because it's a nice even chunk, we can count in chunks of 15. So we're going to go from 6:30 to 6:45, 7 o'clock to 7:15. So we can see that if she went to bed at 8:30 p.m. and woke up at 7:15 a.m., she will have slept for 10 hours and 45 minutes. Please make sure you have copied down all of the work and glue this page in your math notebook.